these are three DAWs that I've used. Two of them I've used over the years. I've used Cubase over the years. I've used Studio One over the years. And I just got familiar with Ableton a little bit because I have an Ableton controller. And we'll do a video on controllers too. I'll let you know what all I have and why I choose the controllers that I choose for me. But man, Ableton, I think for me, I just didn't want to learn a new DAW, right? Because when I went and I played around with the Ableton Live Lite that I got, to me, like, okay, like when I switch DAWs and I move to something different, I could easily move around because it's right there. You know what to do. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. You kind of just look for stuff and you find it. Oh, it's that. Okay, this is that. Okay, this is how you do this. But Ableton was so different than all of the other DAWs that I've experienced that I ain't gonna lie, it kind of frustrated me a little bit. And I remember even Bolo, shouts out to Bolo, he was talking about how Ableton just wasn't for him, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not for everybody. It was too much to do simple stuff. Like, I was trying to figure out how to get a scene track, you know what I mean? Like, how to switch from this view to this view, and just why all my plugins wasn't coming up. Like, they just wasn't coming up, man. Like, I scanned over it and I couldn't get all my plugins to come up. Then the folder selection sucked. Like, I didn't like how it was like Reason, like Native Instruments, Cherry Audio. Like, it was in folders like that. And I'm like, yo, I just want to give me a list with all the names because I know what I'm looking for. I can go look for it that way. But if I got to think of the company, I can, but it throws me off when you in the process of working and you're trying to move fast, right? So I can honestly say I didn't really give Ableton Live a fair chance. I didn't really all the way learn it, you know what I mean? Because it just wasn't simple to me. When I think about it, somebody that's just starting out in Ableton, never touched Ableton before, gets this new DAW, and I'm like flabbergasted by what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't find simple stuff. You know what I mean? So needless to say, Ableton is not my DAW of choice. Maybe one day I'll learn it when I get time, and maybe it'll blow my mind, but I think my decision is firm on the DAW that I want to go with. So let's talk about Studio One. Studio One, I've used since version 2. And I went to version 3. Did I go to version? I don't think I went. Maybe I did go to version 4. And there was one problem with Studio One that I just did not fucking like, man. It pissed me the fuck off, man. Every fucking time, man. To the point where I'm gonna just be real with y'all. To the point where when the Studio 5 and 6 came out, I didn't even upgrade the shit. I went and got a cracked version because I'm like, I want to see if this shit worked before I buy it. And it was the same fucking problem. The MIDI capturing, bro. And I'm not the only person that talked about this. There's another guy that produces here on YouTube. I forget his damn name. I don't see him that much no more. But he's an average Studio One user, and even he was saying that, like, yo, he hates it sometimes because he has to go back and correct his notes. You know how, like, you could be doing something fly in, like, FL or Reason, and, like, the MIDI capturing is just cold. It picks up everything. Like, ain't nothing off. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got a fast enough computer, nothing is off. And, like, you may want to change one note to nudge some stuff over, or give it a little swag on your drum line, nudge some stuff, but, like, you know that it's picking up your MIDI responses in perfect time. Studio One, I know everybody doesn't have this problem, okay? Because there's people that have explained, I don't have that problem. And that's great. But there's half the people that tried Studio One have had that problem, and that's why they don't fuck with it no more. They give you all these new features, all these updates, all these great things that come out with it, and you're like, yo, I'm ready to go back to Studio One. I'm crunk. But then when you get the shit, it's the biggest fucking disappointment. I'm still having to correct notes, and I know I'm playing it on time. Like, I don't have the same problem in every other DAW. Like, that's the only DAW that I know of as to where when you play something, your recording is going to sound completely fucking different than what you played. And it's just unworkable. Like, you can't get in the flow of working in it. Like, it's like, what the fuck is this? And then they added like some kind of new thing. I saw the new thing where you can push some button to make it react. Man, that shit didn't work either. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, fuck Studio One, man. You know? And I was mad because back then, when version 2 was out, nigga, I was struggling. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, I was struggling like a motherfucker, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had paid $400 for that shit, and I couldn't use it. I was mad than a motherfucker, man. They didn't want to refund my money. I said, well, oh, okay, man. Well, fuck y'all then. But, yeah, until they fix that, I can't fuck with Studio One. The only thing I use Studio One for, because I think I have version 3 or 4, and I'll go back. This was like a few years ago when I was sound designing for VPS Avenger. And VPS Avenger, which is one of my favorite synths, it'll allow you to bring in tracked out stems. Like, you can bring in, it's like, say if I create a cool patch for something, right? And I could duplicate it like 88 times real quick in different keys, and I could like extract all the stems at one time, and boom, it was like perfect. It was like, yo, I can take this now, I can load it into VPS Avenger, and boom, I got a sound just like that. Because, you know, VPS Avenger, I think, is one of the better sampling synths on the market when it comes to, getting your sound from exterior sources, right? I think that synth can handle everything, and I'll do a video on that too. A lot of people slept on that. But yeah, man, that's the only thing I've used it for, and maybe to record audio, but I don't really have to use it. I might use it because I'm like, fuck it, it's collecting dust. I'll just use the shit just to feel like I did something. But, you know, it just ain't for me, man. That's the only knock I have on it. And like I said, I have a pretty, better than average computer here. I don't have no wimpy computer here, man. Straight up. So that's that. Now let's talk about Cubase. There's a brother on YouTube that does stuff on Cubase. I forget his name. I can't think of nobody's name, because some of these guys, I see them randomly on my timeline, and I like their stuff, and I just click on it when I see their face. But I don't remember their names like that. It's this black gentleman. He wears glasses. He's always doing like contact stuff. Real cool brother, man. And he uses Cubase. And he was telling us that, like, yo, you should switch over to Cubase, and it's a cool DAW and all that. And like, I was like, nah, it ain't for me, bro. Like, I've used Cubase. Cubase was like my third DAW. Like, I was on Cubase way back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, way back in the day, man. Before some of y'all was born, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of you 19, 20-year-olds, you know what I'm saying? 13, 14-year-olds. I was using Cubase back then. And that was like the best DAW on the market, one of them back then. So for recording vocals and tracking out stuff, it was dope. And I'm pretty sure it still does all the same functions. But for me, Cubase is another one. It's like, it's too many steps to do simple shit. And I haven't touched Cubase in a long time, so maybe things are different now. But back when I tried it, it had such a bad impression on me that I just don't even want to look at Cubase no more. I'm sorry, like it's no for me. It's a big no for me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just not for me, man. So I think I've covered all the basics. Logic, I've never used Logic because I don't have a Mac. I use a PC. and that's just my preference. I would like to use Logic to try it one day if it ever comes to PC. I'm open to trying any DAW, man. But some stuff, like when it's just like crazy to me, it's like, nah, I'm cool on that. Like I didn't like the Machine DAW. I fucking hate Machine DAW. I never really tried Akai's DAW because I do have an Akai product and I got it for free, but I couldn't get into it. It just looked too basic and stale for me. Cause looks matter to me, man. I don't know about y'all, but like I want a DAW that's vibrant in colors that like, whoa, this looks cool. You know what I'm saying? Like got some cool ass features, and that's what I like, man. I don't want no boring looking ass DAW. Like I'm looking at Cubase right now with the dude next to the piano. Man, that shit look boring as fuck, bro. Just to me, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit just looks like, nigga, this shit looks boring. This looks like Pro Tools to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, Pro Tools, I think that's about extinct now, except for guys who have been using it for years and never switched over, and people that's super professional making all the money, they stick with it, and that's cool. But yeah, man, so that's it. So finally, man, I'm gonna get to the DAW that I want to talk about, man. And what I'm raising all this saying for about all these DAWs, man. But I'll hit y'all in the next one. This one been long enough. Peace.